just ask about some of the stuff going on for this game against Baylor, the honoring of the 01, 2000s teams.
Yep.
What's special about those teams in your mind?
Well, those guys, they did so much for our program. The successes they had were tremendous. I mean, to win the league back-to-back years, to have the run in the postseason, the consistency at Hilton Coliseum, to have 2 years without losing a game, so impressive. And it's not just a great player or players. It takes an army of people to do that. It's coaches, managers, players, top to bottom. So awesome that we're able to have those guys back, to be able to honor them and show them the respect that they deserve for everything that they've done for our program and putting us in the position that we're in now. So cool to have those guys part of this experience.
And then about Baylor, what have you seen from the Bears so far on tape?
Yeah, I mean, they're, again, every year, the consistency they have, really good team. They continue to have a culture in a way that they do things that's impressive. Offensively, they've got terrific guard play across the board and even into their bench. Wright coming off the bench is playing tremendous. Omer's a mismatch nightmare. Guy plays extremely hard, leads the league in double-doubles, really motored up. And then, with big fella Ujiwon at the 5, the size and the length that he provides. So a team with a lot of strengths. They're playing really good basketball. The games where they hadn't been successful has either been on the road against really good teams or against a great Tennessee team who's playing as well as any. So we've got tremendous respect for them, their program, the way that they do things, and know that we're going to have great practices and preparation and be our absolute best come Saturday.
What did Brant give you on Monday?
Brant, I know there's so much talk about, like, this is the Brant Chatfield game or whatever, and I don't mean this in the wrong way. I just think that that's what Brant is capable of every game. And I think now Brant has a more clear picture of how he can impact winning for us. So many times, I think, for guys, they can be their most, like, he's a perfectionist. So I think up to a certain point, he's being hard on himself. Any mistake that he makes out there, where I've tried to really, help him or talk him through is like, you're not going to play perfect. We don't expect you to play perfect, but just play as hard as you can and as competitively as you can. So even though he didn't play perfectly the other night, his effort and energy and enthusiasm and physicality, is probably the greatest dynamic that helped us win that game. He had 7-0 boards, but we had another 6 that got tipped out that were largely part of effort he brought. So I think he showed the impact he can have on both sides of the ball and on the floor, and that's something that we're going to continue to need from him.
What's the value, the benefit of having a third big, a guy that's 7 or 8 in your rotation, whatever you want to look at it, being able to have an impact like that, especially over the course of 30-plus games? Yeah,
it's really important. I mean, when you look at it, and we've kind of believe in this model where we ask a lot of those guys, so it's hard to play long stretches. So most of the time, our front court guys are playing a 2.5-minute run that could lead to 3 minutes, but not these long stretches, and we want to give great effort in those short stints. And we expect so much from them in terms of how they guard the ball screen, how they protect the rim, the physicality they bring, offensively, screening, creating action, going to the O-board. So to have 3 guys that we can play that can come and have great effort and energy is a huge asset for us. And I think you see what happened the other night even is that Brant was so impactful in that first half, and I think Deshaun is, watching that saying, I can have that same impact. And now we come out the second half, and Deshaun takes over the game right away on the glass and finishing in the paint. So I always feel like it's like the iron sharpens iron. When you have more guys that have the ability to do it, it makes the others play better as well, and that was the case the other night.
TJ, we've talked a lot about the versatility that Joshua Jefferson brings ever since he committed or ever since we first talked about him. But did you ever envision him matching a guard steals record?
No, I mean, I think for Joshua, defensively, he's extremely intelligent. He finishes a lot of possessions. At times, you're watching it, and it doesn't look like you're not quite sure, is he flying around as much? But he absolutely is reading plays, being instinctive, in the right spot. He had so many great defensive plays the other night. Obviously, the 8 steals stand out, but he was extremely effective on the defensive glass and also in terms of, helping us get stops. So for him to get, to tie a record or to break a conference record or whatever it ends up being, it's a testament to his versatility defensively, the motor that he has, and his ability to impact plays. And so we just need him to continue climbing. Like, I think for all of our guys, it's continue to get better, continue to keep taking positive steps. And I think that was a big positive step for him and our team on Monday.
Is his strength almost under, I don't want to say appreciated, but not noticed as much given as skilled as he is? We've seen him lead fast breaks, go behind the back, and all that stuff, because it seems like strength is a big part of what's leading to those steals and helping him defend so well down low.
Yeah, and I think both parts, right? Like, I think there's the instinct and the intelligence piece, the skill level that goes along with that, and then there's the time where the power, having the ability, whether it's driving through contact, finishing a play where you've got to get off of a screen or move a body or get to a rebound. So I think the combination of skill and power is something that I think for all teams, that 4 position, some people play a power center at the 4, some play a guard, they slide over. What everybody really would like is to have size, length, skill, and power. And with Joshua, we're really fortunate to have a guy who can do all those things really well.
Have you had any discussions with Kurt about this new NCAA JUCO rule that we've seen kind of happen a little bit on the football side and still maybe in legal battles and stuff?
Yeah, really brief. I'd say, Kurt is playing his 4th year of Division I eligibility. I would anticipate that, there'll be lawsuits, there'll be things filed and all that, and we'll continue to be mindful of it because certainly we'd love to have him back, and it's important that he knows what his options are, what the possibilities are. At the same time, we're just keeping the focus on what he can do every day to be the best player he can for us. And my guess would be at some point in the next month or so, that'll work itself out one way or another. So talking about something that's out of our control really doesn't bring a lot of benefit. The one thing I do know that will benefit Kurt is that he continues to play great and focus on having a great practice every day.
Similar question about Kurt. He's averaging about 16 points for you guys off the bench, making close to 38.5% of his three-point attempts on the year. What's the value of having that kind of production off of the bench? And I guess how do you have someone that successful off of the bench contributing for you guys?
Well, the first part, our team, year after year, we've tried to move our offense forward. And to do that, people, it's skill, it's depth, it's togetherness. There's all these things that go into it. For us to be able to, substitute and essentially bring our guy who is probably our most consistent offensive scoring guy from a production standpoint, to have that coming off the bench gives you a huge spark. It is something that's really unique for other teams in your preparation to be able to say, hey, and look, the guy who's leading them in scoring and three-pointers made is coming off the bench. And so how you factor that in, it's not just the scoring and production, it's also the activity. Like, he's flying around offensively. I mean, he is really tough to cover, tough to find in transition, tough to find as Keyshawn and Taman drive the basketball. He's always on the move. So it's been a huge weapon for us. He's a no-ego guy. I mean, shoot, I'd say this, and it doesn't add anything to it, but there couldn't be somebody that's a better candidate for National Sixth Man of the Year. He's our sixth starter, and he brings so much value in everything that he does. So if there's such a thing as starting a campaign for a guy that deserves that type of recognition, he's certainly separated himself from what I understand from anybody based on what he continues to do night in and night out. It's great to see.
And I guess another similar question about Curtis. You started him in the opening game of the year, and he hasn't started since. I don't know if that's a coincidence or a specific choice, but how has his preparation off of the bench and his time with your program been impressive to you?
Yeah, I'd say, everything we do is with intent. So there's a lot of thought and a lot of mindfulness put into the choices and decisions that we make. Ultimately, we're trying to be the best that we can as a team for 40 minutes. And so in order to do that, lineups, combinations, those things matter. You're not just saying, hey, let's have, our best scorers on the court now, or let's have our best offensive producers. You're always looking at that balance of, physicality, skill, experience, scoring, and then what's going on throughout the course of the game. I know that Kurt has shown the ability to come right into games and immediately impact winning. And that is a challenging dynamic, I think, for anybody. I think to have the level of consistency he's demonstrated. And so, we started the season because he had been so consistent since last January, and said, hey, let's give it a crack and see what this looks like. He's a starter. He's somebody who's earned an opportunity. And then as we had to look at it and we looked at how does our team play the best over 40 minutes, felt like there was a different choice that needed to be made. And fortunately, Kurt, what matters to him is that our team does well, that he's playing to his strengths, that he's having fun, that his teammates are at their best. And so all those things, lend us to being in the spot we're in. But, it's out of a strength. It's a fortunate position because we're blessed with the talent that we have.
Last one for me. What does it say about Curtis's unselfishness to be willing to come off of the bench when he is arguably one of your best players, like you said, a leading candidate for Sixth Man of the Year recognitions?
Yeah, no, I think it just speaks volumes to the winner that he is, the character that he has. You'll see that, I think up to this point he's probably always on the court at the end of the games, which also says something about how I feel about him and where we see him, when the game's on the line late. He's just a guy that we really trust and have tremendous confidence. So we're going to continue to uplift him and build his confidence and challenge him to continue to play to his greatness. And I know that from what I've seen and how he works every single day, there's going to be no let up from him, and it's only going to get better from here.